To grow crops in a greenhouse, you need heat, water, CO2, nutrients, and water is a complex ingredient and becoming increasingly complex due to the climate change. That's why we organized this seminar that will be entirely dedicated to water. This slide shows the complexity. There's surface water, rainwater, dirty rainwater, clean rainwater, city water, and well water. And in this seminar, we will talk about all the different kinds of water. And we have six experts who can tell you all about this. 6 pearls from the greenhouse technology sector. We start with a movie to explain how important water is for successfully growing crops.
Our planet is a complex ecosystem where everything is interconnected. It is therefore crucial that we are aware of the consequences of our actions that can disrupt a delicate balance. The growing population and increase in prosperity increase the need for food and water, while we face climate change, which causes both extreme rainfall and persistent drought, as well as rising temperatures resulting in salinization and more pathogens. Water is an essential resource for greenhouse horticulture. Fortunately, today, AVAG members already offer the solution for tomorrow: circular water management. Circular water management ensures sufficient water of the right quality, at the right time, and in the right location, at low costs and with minimal impact on the environment and climate. This applies to the intake, treatment, storage, use, reuse, and discharge of all types of water. Rainwater, groundwater, including spring water, surface water, including ditch water, tap water, water from other production processes, drainage and condensation water, and discharge water. No matter what type of water you take in, each type has its own characteristics. And each type must be rid of unwanted substances. Water storage. Within water storage, there is much choice. First, clear objectives for the storage of water need to be identified to understand the true value of a storage proposition. Key questions are: what quality and quantity can be collected? What is the quality required at point of use? What storage medium satisfies the objectives?
Today.
Water usage. It all revolves around using water to grow crops. The extent of irrigation depends on the type of crop and the size of the future greenhouses. Keep in mind that water is not only used for crop growth, but also for transportation. Think water channels for tomatoes, cooling, humidity, heating, and cleaning. Water reuse. On average, 70% of irrigation water is absorbed or evaporated by crops, while the remaining 30% is recyclable drain water. The benefits of this include lower costs, both for water and nutrients. And it is better for the environment, as well as being less susceptible to water shortages. Discharge of water. Ideally, we want to prevent the discharge of water altogether. In fact, the goal of the sector is to cultivate crops with zero emissions by 2027. Until then, it happens occasionally, for example, during crop rotation or when sodium accumulates in water. In such cases, governments usually require purification before discharge. As mentioned, AVAG members can offer the right solution to every step through circular water management. Based on many years of experience, state-of-the-art knowledge and technology, and proven innovative power. Circular water management for your health and for the whole world.
Well, I think the video showed how complex water management is in the greenhouse. And I'm glad that we have 6 experts on water management in greenhouses. And we start with Van der Hoeven. Jessie Lynn, can you introduce yourself?
It's not working.
It's not working.
No, it's my mic.
Staat het knopje aan? Moet een groen lampje
Is
branden?
it gone off?
Nou. Ja,
Is
nu
it
doet
working
het.
now?
Ja,
Yeah.
nu doet het.
Okay, thank you, Annie. So I'm Jessie Lynn van Egmond. I work at Van der Hoeven, where we develop high-tech and turnkey greenhouses that are very water efficient and are also positioned in some of the world's most water-scarce regions. My job at Van der Hoeven is to focus on water and sustainability. So for the last 4 years, I've been developing new concepts, new technologies, all related to water. On the one hand, really inside the greenhouse, so think of irrigation water and cooling water. How can we really reduce the amount of fresh water that we need per kilogram of produce? On the other hand, my focus has also been outside the greenhouse. So think of using alternative resources. So moving away from resources that are prone to depletion, like groundwater, and actually using industrial or domestic wastewater, not just for irrigating and cooling, but also as an energy and CO2 source. So in that way, we can really place and position greenhouses as key pieces in circular economies, together with wastewater treatment facilities, and really look at those synergies and collaborations. It's wonderful to be here. Water is my passion, by the way, so I'm also very excited to talk about, and I think I speak on behalf of the other gentlemen as well to say it's a wonderful topic, circular water management.
Okay, and can you tell something about using the alternative resources?
Yeah, of course. So if you look at the slide behind, you see a large-scale circle where at the right you would have, for example, a wastewater treatment facility or another industry that has waste products that then can be upgraded to actually use for the greenhouses to grow fresh and nutritious crops for the same region that these urban waste streams originated from. This way you don't just look at a greenhouse as a black box, but really elevate circularity and integrate horticulture with other industries to help regions go from linear to circular economies.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have one question for you. What are ways to decrease the fresh water demand in turnkey greenhouses?
Well, I slightly mentioned it as well. So, of course, it's the source that you choose that's really outside the greenhouse. That has a really significant amount of impact on how to reduce fresh water in your entire system. It also depends which source do you use for which application. So irrigation water requires a much higher quality than, for example, cooling water, than maybe other purposes within the greenhouse. So can you really match the right quality and the right resource with the right application? Then technology, of course, is a major influence on reducing the freshwater demand. So the technology that you implement inside the greenhouse, recirculating your irrigation water, but also, for example, capturing the water that the crop transpires. So anything that is transpired from the crops in closed greenhouses, we can recapture as air cooler condensate, treat, and then reintroduce into the irrigation cycle, really making sure that, as our aim, the only water that leaves the greenhouse is the water inside the crop. Then operation is also important. So how do you use that technology? We have all that technology in the greenhouse. How is that implemented? How is it used? And I think that's really in the grower's hand. And a last one I would love to mention is also footprinting. And we have a huge focus on CO2 footprinting, carbon footprinting, which is of course very important, but water footprinting is also essential. So where do we source our material from? We're already very well developed in the horticultural industry in terms of operation in reducing our freshwater demand. So if we look further, and even further than sources of water, why not look at where do we source our glass, our aluminum, our steel from, and make sure that we do that in a way that also uses the least amount of water possible.
Thank you, Jesselyn. You underlined the complexity of water management in the greenhouse.
Yes.
The next expert is Jeroen de Wit from Van der Ende Pompen. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeroen de Wit. I work for Van der Ende Group, approximately 20 years. And I'm in a lucky position that I can travel over the world to see where the questions are with water. Because, well, we are, first to say we are a supplier of pumps and valves and all kinds of horticulture products. but since a few years or a decade, we produce reverse osmosis and ultrafiltration. And with this kind of products, we see that we get a lot more questions from worldwide how to solve the problem with fresh water. So from the wells or to reuse the water. So we started with, I don't know, is the next slide? Yes, here you see an overview of our products. I think everyone knows what a reverse osmosis is. It's to filter the water from the wells. And besides the normal reverse osmosis, we also have a high performance. This is a high efficiency, so sometimes we get, depend a little bit on the quality of the source, we can have a 15 or 20% higher efficiency than a normal reverse osmosis. So that's one extra that we have on the reverse osmosis side. On the other side, we have ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration is not really a new technology because it's already used in the hospitals and the kidney dialysis for many, many years. But for the last 10 years, we developed the ultrafiltration for the horticulture market to reuse your drain water. As everyone knows, we have the existing systems like UV, ozone or heating. But you can have the same result with an ultrafiltration, but then of course in another solution. Because of the reverse osmosis, you see that the ultrafiltration also is a membrane technology. And this membrane technology can filter out all the viruses and bacteria. So the pore size, for example, the strosa and the membranes are at a size that no virus or bacteria or undissolved parts can go through. So, and then with this, with reusing your water. Because if you look at the reverse osmosis, then you have a discharge, as said, sometimes 40, sometimes 20%, depends on the source. But for ultrafiltration, you don't have any discharge because all the water will go back and will be reused. And of course, what very important is the saving of nutrients. And so the RE of the ultrafiltration is quite fast if you calculate it with this amount of nutrients that we use nowadays. If you look at the positive or the USPs of the ultrafiltration, as I already mentioned, is a low energy consumption. It's low maintenance. It only needs 1 time a year maintenance. Low chemical usage, and again, the reuse of the nutrients is one of the big advantages of the ultrafiltration. And last but not least, also when the water is very dark, so the T10 value is very low, then other solutions can have some problems to solve or to filter, or get rid of the viruses and bacteria, but the ultrafiltration doesn't. So that's also a good benefit if you use Coco-P, for example. Yeah, then I think only the thing that I would like to say as a personal thing, that I really believe in water reuse and in that water will be the new gold in the coming years. So let's solve that problem with each other worldwide.
Thank you, Jeroen. A lot of information. Well, you found on your chair a red card and a green card. And I have a statement. Dutch growers reuse more than 50% of the water in the greenhouse. Green is I agree, red is I don't agree. So Dutch growers reuse more than 50% of the water in the greenhouses. Green is I agree, red is I don't agree. Most of them are green, some red cards. Jeroen, what's the right answer?
Yeah, the most do. But again, it depends a little bit also on where you start with source. I see in some countries that they use the well water as a starting water. And then when you have the sodium in your water, and you're going to reuse your water, then the sodium level will rise. So then your discharge may be a little bit more. But if you look at the Dutch market with the UV and ozone and also the ultrafiltration, you see they can reuse your water at least 50%. Yes.
Okay. And what are the reasons why growers are hesitated to reuse drain water? despite the significant benefits in terms of nutrient and water savings.
Yes. Well, we think that's a little bit that they don't really know about how to solve, and a little bit maybe scared of the virus and bacteria. Again, if you look at the brown virus in the tomato, people get scared, of course, and that's maybe why they don't reuse their water that often. But yeah, the ultrafiltration can help in this problem. It will filter out the virus, but I also have to make an add-on on that if the virus, of course, is in the greenhouse already, then we know then that's really a problem, then you can solve the problem. But we think that the main issue or where people not reusing their water is that they are scared of the virus that can be in the water.
Yeah, that's a serious concern
Yep.
of the growers. Yeah.
But they don't have to if you have a good installation. So it's not always buying an ultrafiltration. It's also the advice. We as a company, we try to give a complete advice from A to Z, from the well to the end, so the source water to the end result, and don't sell only the ultrafiltration, and also give advice, have laboratory tests to have a look at that we filter out everything.
Yeah, okay. Well, our time is limited, but if people want to know more about it,
Yep.
they can contact you or contact the Van de Ende Groep.
They certainly
at the
can.
farm.
You all are, of course, happy to visit you, to get or to come to our booth. If I'm right, 512. Looking to my colleague, how he's going. But it was 512. Well, otherwise, you can find it on the map, of course.
And
And
in
we-
the back is more information about the
Yep.
company.
So we have one
yeah.
unit on the booth, so please come and we can tell, with our experienced team, tell you more about how this product works. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Simon Jones, you work for GNAP or GNAP for several years, and you travel around the world,
It's true.
all about water issues.
It's true. It's not working. Is it working?
Not really.
Ook
You
het
can hear
groene
me now.
knopje.
Oh.
Ja.
Okay. Sorry, I can't hear up here. Yes, thank you, Annie. Thank you for the invitation to be here. Yes, GNAP, as I say, because I'm the English guy, but GNAP if you're Dutch. We are 71 years old, or 74 years old, and we have been supplying water systems around the world for 74 years. That gives us a lot of experience within our house. And when we say water systems, we're supplying water storage tanks, we're supplying lagoons, and we're supplying covers. Now, fundamentally, the water storage is quite simple, but it's quite complicated. We've already heard from Van der Hoven and from Van der Ende about collecting water. A lot of people are spending a lot of time collecting water from the ground or from the rain, but they're not covering it. So they collect it and then let it develop algae, let it evaporate away. Spend money on pumping it up and then see it evaporate. They're watching dust get into it. But if you protect your water, so you collect or capture, protect, and then utilize it in the right way, your crops can benefit. And water storage is a fundamental part of that. And that is what we do with GNAP. We have 2 factories in Holland, and we have 4 factories around the world, 1 in Canada, 1 in Mexico, 1 in India, and 1 in Kenya, all supplying into local markets. So what we are doing is we are pushing out into the world and accepting the challenges that water gives us and promoting locally and supplying and supporting locally.
And you have brought some examples.
Yeah, we brought some more examples. What we can see on the screen there is a very large lagoon there next to some greenhouses with a floating cover on. And this cover stops algae growth. So when you're pumping water into your greenhouse, you can be sure it's full of algae. And then you can go through your filtration and your irrigation process. We also have, for lagoons, in particular areas where there is wind-borne debris, we have fully closed covers. Now the large cover you can see on the right-hand side, the green one, this is a completely closed cover. That means that we're pumping water either from the top of the greenhouses or from the ground into a closed unit. The water you can see on top is rainwater. So we have a completely closed membrane, so there's no evaporation, no UV, no direct sunlight on the water. The water stays cool. No windborne debris going in, and everything you can see on the top there with dust is contaminant that would have been seen in your pumps and your filtration system. And we have I said it already, no evaporation there at all. So it's completely closed and completely controllable water. So what you put in is what you get out. And we have other systems for tanks as well. On the bottom left-hand side is our Genodome, which is an aluminium framed cover with a stretched fabric over it. And on the bottom right, we have a GenaFlexStore, which again is a fully closed system. Now these systems mean that you can have total control over your water. So if you're treating it or if you're filtering it, before you go into the tank, whether it's a day tank or whether it's a 3-day tank or one of your main tanks, then you can actually control the quality and control the temperature of the tank. And it's important to have that level of control as a grower to ensure that you're delivering the right water to get the right yield with your plants, with your crop.
Okay.
More.
And we have more. I was only expecting 2 slides. So the picture on the left is a picture I love. The tank is about 10 years old. It's in Portugal. It's in the Douro wine region, which I love for a different reason. But it shows a floating cover. And it shows a floating cover with lots of algae on top. It shows a floating cover with lots of dust on top. It's a very hostile environment on top of a hill, very exposed, not far from the ocean. The tank is surviving well, it's performing really well. The cover is collecting product on top, which would normally, again, be in your pumping system, and it's protecting that water. And it's giving good water into the vines, which then produces the quite wonderful Douro wine. And on the right-hand side is a project in Oman, where we were tasked with providing water for a greenhouse that was protected on very large tanks. Now, the issue with covering a tank is that you need a lot of strength in the walls to put a tank over the top. We've solved that problem by producing a bag within the tank, which is the GenaFlexStore, which again is the completely closed system. This system can be put into tanks which are 30 meters wide, 4 meters high. So what it means is that you can have a very large storage which is covered and protected.
Well,
And then
thank
we have
you
a
so
You're
second
done.
much.
You're done
I
now.
haven't done yet.
Okay.
No more slides, no more
Maybe
surprises.
you never know, eh?
Just one question for you. What considerations should be taken into account when choosing or upgrading a water storage system?
Okay, when you're choosing a water storage system is how much water you need, firstly, capacity. And whatever you need, add 50% because you can guarantee you're going to need more to cover those events when you either have a pump failure or an outage of water supply, or you need to use more because of certain weather conditions. Also, the space you have. Now, the space you have can be in the greenhouse or it can be outside the greenhouse. And where the water comes from determines how high you go. If you take it from the gutters, you're limited by your gutter height. If you take it from the ground, you can go high and very wide. So it really does depend on what space is available. And of course, if you have a certain space, then we can decide, or we can help you or guide you to decide what is the best and what is the most economic and viable option to store water within that space. And that could be a lagoon between 2 greenhouses, and we could go 6 meters or 8 meters deep and 30 meters wide, or it could be a simple tank which is 4 meters high and only 10 meters wide.
So the best solution is to contact you
The
and
best
to
solution
talk
is to
about
contact
the
us.
special case.
Every farm every greenhouse is different.
Yeah.
So it's important that we don't try and say that's your best solution. It's
No.
important that we take into effect all the factors you have, where you want to push the water, where you're getting the water from, how much you need to store, and whether you need to store a bulk storage and then smaller storages near your plants, or whether you want to have straight into the greenhouse, into your pumping room.
Okay, well, thank you, all the 3 of you. We have 3 more companies, and so we do a change now and go further with the seminar.
Great, thank you.
So thank you, Jesselyn. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Jeroen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the other three companies are coming on stage. And I have a question for the audience with the green
have to
card
turn this
and the
off
red
before we-
card. I have a statement. I'm aware how I can save money when using good cover solutions instead of simple or no cover systems at all.
Yeah.
The red one is I don't agree. The green one is I agree. Dus I'm aware how I can save money when using good cover solutions instead or simply or no cover systems at all. And Marnix, will you come on stage? And Kok van Bommel, will you come on stage, please? So can I see the cards one more time, please? Do you agree? Do you not agree? Green, red? Well, Marnix, they have different answers, and I think you have the right answer.
Of
Could
course.
you please introduce yourself and Bulatech
I hope I
and
have the right.
reflect about the statement?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Annie, for your question. Yes, we are talking about the cover system. Also, Simon Jones did it already. But there are a lot of ways you can cover a water tank. You see tanks without the cover, with span covers, floating covers, or completely closed solutions. And for outside use, you see open tanks or completely covered tanks or floating covers. But the thing is, we see in the market that the choice of the end user is more based on price sensitivity. They think the price of the cover, it's a thing. And that's why I would like to put attention on the complete cover system you see over there. And there are other solutions as well. Sometimes the price is X3 or X4, but people forget the cost that will come later, because there are some things like the lifetime of your liner that can extend X2, for example. So the ROI is better. There are less costs. So that's one of the things that can help buy to choose for a complete cover solution. And besides that, the complete cover solution is better if you don't want to want bacteria or viruses in the water. Less maintenance because there is no dirt and dust, like Simon told you also about it. For example, in the region Westland, you see some water tanks with some plants out of the water tanks. And I think you don't want to have that, and you have to clean it, so that will lead to extra costs as well. But yeah, let's go back to the first thing. It's price sensitive, and you have to go and see and look for the best solution. And that's a closed solution thing. Yeah, there are other things as well. Sorry, I forget the one reason. Oh yeah, the filtration system, of course, because the better the quality of your water, the less input of effect has it on your filtration system. And that's also a cost that you don't have to make when you have a complete cover system. So it's really important to have that rather than floating cover solution or open tanks.
So you can save you money to use a good cover system.
Definitely. At first stage you think it's expensive, but yeah, over the years, yeah, it's a good investment.
Okay, that's a very good conclusion.
Thank you.
Let's go further with Erfgoed. Well, Cornelis van Bommel, you introduce your company.
Yes, okay, I will do. My name is Cornelis van Bommel. I'm Business Development Manager by the Erfgoed Company. And left for me is my colleague, it's Corné Verduin, he's the manager about the water systems. Erfgoed is a company, it started with making cultivation floors in greenhouses, and we do it for about more than 35 years. And the last year we see a lot of growers, they said, we don't only need the floor, we also need a very good system to watering. And that's also the reason that we started a few years ago with the work with the water system. And what's interesting, let's say Marnix, but also Jörn Jan and other companies, they give a part and we give a total solution. We had 5 options that we are doing with the Erfgoed Company. We make the storage and we make it inside of a system. Also we do the fertigation of water system. We do the irrigation, the draination, all the questions about water systems we are making like the Erfurt company. So we make a total solution together with a lot of companies, and yeah, that's also the reason that we are very proud to do it. And growers who are working with our system, they said to us, the plants are growing much more better, so the quality of your products is better. So people who are working with the Erfurt company, they are very happy that they're working with our system.
Okay. Well, I have another question for the audience. What percentage of the water you give is absorbed by the plants? Or in other words, what percentage of the water is captured and can be reused? Red is less than 50% and green is more than 50%. So what percentage of the water you give is absorbed by the plants? Or in other words, what percentage of the water is captured and can be reused? Less than 50% is red, more than 50% is green. I see green cards, red cards.
Yeah, a lot of colors.
What's
Corné.
the answer?
Yeah, what's the answer? So that's the question. We see different possibilities with watering. So with apple fruit function, we see 80 to 90% coming back. So a lot of water is going to the plants and coming back by the water system. So you can reuse it all. And with our floor, everything is closed. So all the water what's not used by the plants is coming back to the pits and can be reused again with the filtration system and the water system. So we see a water loop in the system, so you can reuse everything of it. It's just the evaporation of the plants what you lose.
That sounds good, but I think it's a very expensive system. What's the payback period of the system?
Yeah, also, that depends on the system. So we see some crops have a high risk on diseases. So we need there a more complicated system with filtration systems. What we see with the Erfurt floors and the water system we produce, we see a payback time in between 3 and 5 years. So again, it's depending also on the solution you like to have for the plants.
Okay.
And we had also make a model, so people, when we are speaking with growers, we speak to the grower, what are the payback time, and every situation is a unique situation. We make a special solution for all the growers, and with the grower we are speaking together, what is the solution for that grower, and what's the payback time.
And why is it important for the cultivation floor supplier, installer, to also take care of the water technology?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're working now since 2008 international, and what we saw that a lot of customers buy a floor, but they miss the experts on the water system. So what we do as a company, we integrate it all together. So all the numbers what we need for the floor, we can supply it also in the water system. So that means you have one integrated system, one company. We take the whole picture, and we do it with our partners, like some other speakers, also our suppliers. So we make them all together and make an integrated system. So that makes it easier for the customer to have one company to talk with.
Okay. Well, thank you. We got a lot of information today about water management. Jan van den Bremen, you are from MG Tech. What can you add to all these expertise?
What we do is we go inside of the greenhouse. We go to the cultivation site. And we have several technologies. I'm the commercial director for the company. And as MJ Tech, we provide high-pressure fogging systems for creating the right humidity inside of the greenhouses. So depending wherever you are and what kind of cultivation you do, it's really also using for adiabatic cooling. One of the nicest projects we've done is in Armenia. In Armenia, they are facing a country climate. If they have 40 degrees Celsius and they have only 15% humidity, we raise the humidity to 65-70% for their tomatoes and peppers, and at the same time we reduce the temperatures with 9 degrees back to 31. So therefore we create in a very energy efficient way a nice climate for the tomatoes and the peppers to grow even in these climates in these parts of the world. So that's a nice, good technology inside of these kind of greenhouses for high wire vegetables. Our technologies can be used also for Phalaenopsis, the more tropical plants. They need high humidity, so that's when they use it. It's well known that you can use it very well in the strawberry area. So in the soft fruit domain, a lot of people are using our technologies. And at a certain day, we went beyond just high pressure fogging, came with cultivation gutters and irrigation, and also spray boom. So now or less, we always look at, okay, what's the grower planning? What is he looking after to grow? What kind of water-related topics need to be covered inside of the greenhouse? Yes, we provide a high pressure fogging pump unit inside of the water technology area, but the rest we look at the partners. Filtration, yes, very important for high pressure fogging, but then we look at the partners that are here also around the table. Make sure you have the right water quality when you're using high pressure fogging. So sometimes it might mean a reverse osmosis, sometimes just a softener, sometimes it means if you're using pond or rainwater to have a paper-filled filtration system. So whatever kind of source water you want to use for high pressure fogging, we can look at some of those partners to say, okay, come into the loop, we need the storage tank, we need the filtration, we do the right job.
So it's not just a one-fits-all solution.
No.
It depends on the crop, it depends on the climate, on the region.
And we tune things, right? So we got recently also in Germany and Switzerland, they have this organic way of growing, not the hydroponic that we also know is very water energy efficient, but they are having the organic in the soil. And they only might need it for just 2 compartments. Then maybe the year after they have to tour around, they have to do it in another 2 compartments. Then we tune our solution also in such a way that, okay, the pump unit can do it, but if you change from 1 year to that compartment to the other one, let's make sure how we do that cost effectively. So that's a customized way of organizing ourselves. If you look at the smaller rooms, if you are a breeder, look at all the big breeders, if there's small compartments, we have another technology to make sure for these small compartments that we do the right job. So each individual situation, we will really do from A to Z the total configuration.
So if people want to know what a good solution is for their case,
Yep.
they have to contact you.
Come
and
to
find
Hall 5,
out-
and Hall 5 you see our technologies for all of them, even on the irrigation. There we can talk with the specialist on, okay, how to tune your solution.
Okay. Well, are there questions from the audience? Do you have a question for one of these experts? Now you have the chance. They are all on the seats. No? Well, there are a few minutes left, then I come to a conclusion. This morning we had a seminar with a video of Maaike van Ginneken, the water envoy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And I quote her, 1 billion people are food insecure because the lack of water. So water is the cornerstone of food production. Do you agree?
Without water, it's impossible. So, and we see changes in Northern Africa also, where maybe it was cheap to say, okay, let's do a cost-effective method. But if the water is no longer available, they have to change to different cultivation methods. There's no plant that can do it without. So, it's key.
And she also mentioned water is the engine of climate adaptation.
I mean,
That's a difficult question.
yeah, but if you look at the Northern Africa situation, for example, also, last year in October, we had the opportunities to be in the Agadir area. If you see Google Earth pictures from 30, 40 years ago and how that land has turned around, that they need a complete, huge reverse osmosis installation with seawater to make sure they can still do cultivation. That's telling you everything about the climate change that you're facing in such areas. So, but again, water technologies can still even enable, if it's getting so scarce, to do the job.
Cornelis, do you agree on that statement?
Yes, I think water is very important on the moment. Yesterday I was listening to the radio, and they tell about 10 million people in about 2050. All the people, they need food. All the people they need to live. And I think when we will give all the people enough food, then it's very important that we are very good working with water. And I think the system from Erfgoed, we collect the water, but the plant don't need the water, we can recycle. And all the other companies will do it also together. I think it's a very good way. And in the first, you also said water is a new gold. I think it's really important that people understand what are the possibilities of water, and that you can recycle the water, and that you're do it on a very good way to work with water. So what you said, I understand it, and I said it's very important that all the people also, we are working together with the Dutch companies. Also, last year we are together in Mexico, and then we said, we understand each other, and together we make a good solution.
Marnix, water is the new gold?
There is scarcity of water, of course, definitely. Is it working?
Yeah, it's good.
Is it working? Or?
It-
Yeah, but that means that it's more important to store the water at the good way, of course. That's more and more important, and that brings also, again, back to a good cover solution, because the scarcity of water and the quality of water is getting more and more important. So, of course, if you want to save the water as gold, you have to save it like a good save, and I think that's a good conclusion.
And then Buwatech can help.
Yeah, of course, of course. And we
Okay.
are in the first hall, so please come by.
Well, my conclusion is that these 6 companies, part of the Dutch greenhouse technology sector, are ready to meet these challenges. They invite you to meet these exhibitors on this fair and take note of their solutions. Please take the bag you found on your seat with you, and it contains a lot of information of the companies who are part of this seminar. Please, I ask for a big applause for Van der Hoeven, Van der Ende, GNAP, Erfgoed, Buwatech and MG Tech. Thank you for your attention.